G'day guys, it's Adam from Video Show Me How, and in this video I'm going to run through how to replace and upgrade your hood latches or bonnet latches for your Jeep Wrangler JK. Let's get started. So owning a Jeep JK, you'll know that these things after a period of time tend to start flogging out. They at the end of the day a pretty simple rubber kind of deal here, and the rubber here on the inside can kind of get a little bit worn and cracked. They start looking pretty dodgy as well. As you can see, they start graying out. Doesn't matter what amount of stuff that you put on these things to try and make them stay nice and black. So after time, you'll also notice that they tend to flex a little bit in height wise, which then gives you a bit of a hood shutter. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but if you're going down the freeway and a semi comes the other way, it can be a little hairy. So there's good news here, guys. There's good news, and that is you can replace these guys with some nice alloy hard units, which look awesome, and they also make sure that this thing, the old hood or bonnet, stays where it should be. So let's get started into replacing these now. Alright, so here's the units that we're going to be replacing them with. You can get tons of these online. They're pretty good value. You can get these for about $100, and as you can see, these ones are a alloy unit. They come in lots of different brands, but obviously much better quality stainless steel fittings with nylock nuts and what have you there as well. So these guys, to give you a side-by-side of what these actually look like, if we can get this back in there, these will sit on there a little bit like that, and that gives you a pretty good idea. They're a lot wider, and obviously they're going to have a much firmer locking mechanism rather than this rubber. They are fully alloy. So the other good thing is you've got these adjustment nuts in here, so you can really nut down exactly the level of adjustment that you're after. And being Jeepers, we all like a little bit of adjustment. So to install these guys, essentially what we're going to want to do is obviously we'll lift the hood, which is obviously a pretty straightforward affair. And then once you've got the hood open, it's a matter of understanding how these come apart. Now it's pretty straightforward. These guys are in two parts. Underneath here, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but essentially under here there's a 13mm nut that sits underneath that you need to get out to get this guy off. And then on the top section here, these guys here are just 10mm nuts, and they're pretty straightforward to get off as well, to remove our actual catching mechanism there. Alright, so to get to this guy from underneath, there's a nut underneath there, and it's a 13mm. Now a couple of problems for me. I have inner flares, and I'm also lazy, so this was a little bit of a pain for me to get to. I found that this combination worked the best. If you don't have hard inner flares like I do here, you might be able to actually get to this nut from underneath. So it's nice and sort of flat there, and you could probably get a spanner up underneath. So if you don't and you want to go this route as well, I found this combination worked the best, which is essentially a 3/4 ratchet spanner, the smallest extension you could find with a little flex joint. And then we need a 13mm socket on the end as well. And I found that just by sort of wriggling underneath here is going to be the easiest way to get to it. And I did find that once you've loosened the nut off, you can generally do it by hand. So while it might be hard to get there, once you've cracked it, it's hard to get it, but once you've cracked it, you can generally get the thing off with hand. Good luck trying to get that bolt out. We'll see if I've done it. Nice. So there's our little lock nut, and this is what it looks like, guys. So we've got two little locking pins here that you can see, and that helps it locate the bolt into the body, as you can see here. We probably need to give that a bit of a clean up, but as you can see, that's nice and pretty simple stuff. It essentially just has two locating pins and then the new bolt hole. So next step is removing our top locator nut here, and these obviously are going to be a whole lot easier. So let's get started. And as you can see, guys, that's what our clamp down looks like with our couple of bolts there. Pretty straightforward stuff. That essentially will just clip into here and the new piece will bolt on in. So let's get started in installing our nice new alloy units. Alright, so to install our new units here, you'll notice they already have nice bits of rubber ready to go so that you're not going to stuff up your Duco. But essentially to install, it's a two-piece install here. So you'll notice that the lovely little nut there and bolt is on the inside. So we need to remove this pin on the inside so that we can get that bolt where it needs to go in there. So the next step is getting a pair of Allen keys, which look like they're a 5mm, and uninstalling the middle pin. Alright, so they are 5mm, you'll need 2 of, and then it's a matter of basically undoing them. Alright, once that's come out, they should be able to just slide out just like this. Good to see a little bit of Loctite. And the pin on the other side there as well. Come out just like that. And then you'll have this unit separately that can bolt up nice and easily. Alright, so now we'll have 2 separate pieces, and we just need to line up our locating little notches there with the holes that are there ready to go. You pop him through like that, pretty straightforward. You want to line that guy up, get your socket in from down the back there, and then put your Allen key at the front and actually tighten it using the Allen key itself. So once you've got this guy in and he's nice and tight, we need to install the rubber grommet from the original piece. So from the original piece there will be this guy, which you can see has a little slot in there, and that will be essentially attached in there like that. So it's a matter of just pull that off, and you'll see that essentially it has a little groove in there. And also, funnily enough, on the new one has a nice little groove. It does have, you can see where the rubber has rubbed there a little bit, but you could probably touch that up. Essentially the new groove just slots in like that, and that's when the hood latches down. It gives it a nice solid rubber mounting to attach to on there. So make sure you do that. Next step is installing the latch itself. Now make sure that this is around the right way. If you install it that way, it's not going to latch properly, so make sure the bulge out is on the right side. It should be able to sit in there nice and flush just like that. Next couple of bits is grab your inner bushing there. We have a long bit, we have a short bit. We probably want to put the short bit in that side, especially if you have aftermarket flares like I do. So short side in one side, and then your long piece in that side. You should be able to do most of this up by hand, so do what you can, and then grab an Allen key and do the rest up. Once it gets tight, grab your second Allen key and make sure you snug him up nice and tight. Don't be afraid of going too crazy with this, because it is on a bushing, so it does allow enough movement for the hood latch itself. And now the next step is to install our top bracket onto the top of the hood itself, so that when it comes down we have something for it to latch onto. Grab your hooking mechanism here, the other part. Make sure the rubber section is on here so it keeps your Duco looking nice and sweet. Stainless hardware, which is always nice for beach time. We just install that guy like that. We have some more nylock type nuts. They go underneath, and using a 10mm, and then it's just a matter of doing those up. Alright, so home stretch, making sure that we've got everything nice and tight, which we do. Now we need to adjust it, and that's the beauty of these, is that they've got the adjusting mechanism on the bottom there. So it is pretty awesome, so that you can really custom how much or how tight essentially you want your hood or your bonnet to be. So just push it down with one hand and then try and get it in. Now in this case we don't quite get it in, so we'll just wind him out and try it again. Not quite. We'll go one more. There we go. And boom. There's our point. So we just want to do these guys up so that they're in the sweet spot there. Grab a spanner. In this case, we are needing a 16mm, and essentially just want to tighten these lock nuts down. So both of them are tight, and then we are permanently adjusted. And that's it. Our hood is done. So that's nice and installed. I reckon they look pretty cool. They definitely have a nice and solid locking mechanism. And I guess that's the benefit of these guys, is you can make them as you know, as tight or as loose as you like. So I mean, I've made them quite tight, but as you can see, it has a nice positive locking that's solid, as the hood is not going anywhere. And I think we've eliminated any flutter because it is pretty solid. It looks pretty cool, and I think it's got a nice sort of curve to it, probably the only curve on the Jeep. But you know, I guess that's one of the reasons we own it, maybe. But in any case, that's it guys. Pretty straightforward, nice and easy install. This is probably only going to take you 30 minutes. Obviously, once you've done one side, we need to do the other side as well. So that's next on the list. But other than that guys, we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Click here if you want to subscribe to the channel. You'll find lots of other videos showing you through how to do all sorts of stuff, just like this one and also this one. Other than that, I hope you have a great day. Remember to hit the subscribe button. It really helps support the channel, and I'll see you next time.